Good evening, and welcome to our Wednesday spiritual practice. I'm Reverend Jonathan Zenz. I'm the senior minister here at Unity of Tucson, and what a joy it is to have you with me on this lovely Wednesday night. It is Wednesday, July 1st, 2020. It's 6 p.m. Arizona time, and I want to do something a little bit differently tonight. Normally, what I've been doing is I've been stepping into the experience and expression of a guided meditation on Wednesday evenings. And while I do still have the intention of leading us through a short guided meditation, there is something that has come up through me that I felt needed to be addressed, and I wanted to address it, and I wanted to speak to it, and I wanted to help us all move through gracefully the experiences that we seem to be collectively having in this world. And so I begin by asking, what is happening? What is happening? Well, we can look to the world. We can look out to the world and we can say, I see that there is so much going on. There's pandemic. There's protests, there's pressure. And so what I wanted to start with is to say that our work within the New Thought paradigm is to first and foremost be receptive to the good. Because that's the nature of God, this infinite creative source that is everywhere present. It is good. It is loving. It is infinite wisdom. It is flowing forth in terms of creation at all times. And I choose to settle my own heart into that spiritual truth. When I know that I am that which is, when I know that I am that which is beyond the circumstances of the world, I trust and know that that inner self creates my experience. That's fundamental to the teaching. In Tucson right now, I think we're feeling the pressure in many ways. We're feeling the pressure of the monsoon season, which is technically upon us, but we haven't had much rain activity. And so we're in this place of expectation that seems unresolved, and that expectation seems to be building up the pressure. And I think this is a common occurrence that permeates the consciousness of anyone who is susceptible to it, and it happens every year. And it's okay. It's okay. I think we need to let ourselves off the hook and know that it is okay to have that feeling, to have that sensibility, to know and accept that this pressure is upon us. We are potentially susceptible to it if we are not taking charge of our thoughts, addressing our beliefs, and tending to our feelings. Now, this pre-monsoonal pressure, it's almost like an air pressure because it's so hot. And the rain brings such relief when it happens. But this pre-monsoonal pressure is usually dissipated when the rain comes. And we have the opportunity to celebrate that blessing. Rain is a blessing in the desert, and celebrating that is such a magnificent opportunity when it comes. And I keep looking at the skies every single day, expecting that this time will come soon. And yet it's not here yet. Now, I feel like this particular year, there is extra pressure that we are experiencing with protests in the streets, unrest in our civil discourse, and especially in the experience of the pandemic that we are all collectively moving through right here and right now. I said on Sunday that if we are in a place of fear, that we should really understand and define that fear as the opportunity to face everything and rise. That it is not something that we need run away from, forget everything and run. That's another acronym for fear. We don't need to step into that notion. We don't need to step into those ideas. We are in a collective experience, and we are each and every one of us moving through it, I believe, to the best of our ability, given what we know. But I know that there is something deeper that each and every one of us has access to. I trust and know that there is that which is within. And it is an important consideration that we make. We can't approach the experience of the world by letting those circumstances be things that make us feel out of control. We are in control. We can approach those circumstances of the world as ones who are not in control, ones who don't trust the innate spiritual strength, or we can approach it as someone rooted in spiritual truth. If we are approaching it as the former, one who is not control, then we become subject to the whims of the collective consciousness. And that may or may not be in alignment with our highest good. If we are the one who is rooted in spiritual truth, and I believe that each and every one of us have committed ourselves to putting in the work to be the ones who are rooted in spiritual truth, then we can know beyond a shadow of a doubt what is required for addressing the circumstances in which we currently find ourselves. We must collectively choose to move through this time with grace and with ease. Primary in the New Thought teaching is a particular idea. And while I am the minister now at a Unity Church, I am going to go back to my roots in religious science and express this through the words of Ernest Holmes, who wrote, "Trained thought is far more powerful than untrained thought." Trained thought is more powerful than untrained thought. So our work is to train our minds to accept only the good, to accept only love, because that is the point from which all circumstances flow forth. Self-reflection is necessary to know how to address the thoughts we have. It is infinitely necessary that we have the capacity and the willingness to self-reflect. And in self-reflecting, one of the things that I think is very important that we do is to allow ourselves to ask the question, am I lost in the collective consciousness that is not in service to my highest and most expansive well-being? Or do I absolutely know beyond a shadow of a doubt that I am rooted in spiritual truth and I create the expression of my experience? For everything begins and ends in mind. Everything begins and ends in mind, this one infinite universal mind of which we are all a part, of which each and every one of us shares and experiences as our own. There is absolutely no separation. I don't take lightly the tenets of my vision of ministry. And they are love only, forgive everything, remember who you are. If we are truly remembering who we are, then we are not subject to the whims of the collective consciousness, which right now predominantly seems to be rooted in the proliferation of this pressure. When we know who we are, when we accept that we are rooted in and living as love, then we can step into a place of forgiveness. And I think a powerful tool that we can, each and every one of us, choose to accept tonight if we choose to. And it's up to you, because you are a being of infinite choice. You get to decide how you proceed. You get to decide how you live. You get to decide. But I really want us to settle into the notion that forgiveness is the thing that will address the circumstances we are currently experiencing. The circumstances we currently experience, I've given a lot of thought to them. And what I came to very early on is that they are a reflection of something that was below the level of awareness in the collective consciousness. But now the collective has been made aware. And so our work as practitioners of New Thought principles, our work becomes setting our minds aright and leading and living with love only in our hearts. But as we look at the world, we must also take responsibility for those things to which we may have contributed. And in doing so, I think that it is important that we allow ourselves to step into forgiveness, asking our higher self for forgiveness. Forgive me for my part in what is happening. Forgive me for the participation I have stepped into, knowingly or unknowingly. For I know that I am the point at which the world is expressing forth. There is a practice in the Hawaiian tradition, and you may be familiar with it from the work that Joe Dispenza has done. It's the practice of Ho'oponopono, the Hawaiian forgiveness practice. And so to finish out the experience tonight, what I wanted to do was to take us through a short meditation that has Ho'oponopono as part of it, in addressing and allowing ourselves to make the statements, those 4 statements: I'm sorry, forgive me, I love you, thank you. And following Ho'oponopono, following this short forgiveness meditation, I'm going to offer a beautiful song that is very resonant in my heart and reminds me at all times to allow myself to be smoothed over by the magnificence that is divine consciousness, this thing called God. And so as we step into this experience of meditation practice, I'm going to remind you that it is simply a practice. And you don't have to stress about whether or not you're doing it right. Just allow yourself to be present to the sound of my voice and follow the sound of my voice. You can let go of whatever emotions come for you. You can always allow yourself to root back to the breath, where you can feel your body, and allow yourself to move through this time at your own pace. I invite you to begin by allowing yourself to be seated or lie down in a comfortable position, and easily allow yourself to root into the awareness of the fact that you are breathing. There's nothing you need to do except step into awareness. An awareness of the movement of your breath, the easeful flow as it enters and leaves your body. There's nothing you need to do to control it, because it will simply happen. And while you can control it, it is not necessary. At this time, just become aware. In this breath awareness, I invite you to expand your conscious acknowledgement. Using your imagination, imagine that with each breath in, that the air is filling every cell of your body. That the air is reaching the expanses of every last part of your physical beingness. You may become aware of thoughts. They'll come and go. Just acknowledge that they come and they go. As a thought comes up, recognize it, understand it as a passing event, and let it go. Deepening into the awareness of your thoughts may naturally lead to an awareness of emotions. Emotions that rise up in your body and mind. They may be frustration, restlessness, peacefulness, sadness, joy. Just simply become aware without trying to control. Become aware of how the body, the mind, and the heart are feeling right now. Notice where you feel the breath moving in and out of your body. Simply become aware and decide now to take a gentle journey of awareness through the entire body. And in doing so, you can invite in the possibility of letting go, relaxing the body, and allowing a kind of attention to sweep through the body. And any place where you find tension or holding, you can choose to let go, to let it be. You can allow whatever is present to just be as it is. Now bring to mind some idea that may require forgiveness. It may be someone personal in your life. It may be some unresolved issue. It may be some greater scale idea that requires your addressing. Notice the details of the experience you are choosing to step into forgiveness around. Whatever it is, let it be present in your mind right here and right now, free of judgment, easeful, graceful, freedom and flexibility. Imagine the idea of that thing, that person, whatever it is that you have chosen to step into forgiveness around. Allow yourself to imagine that it is collected in a small ball of light that you can easily carry in the palm of your hand. And allow yourself to see that ball of light dropping into your outstretched hand before you. Easily, gently seeing that thing, giving it form, giving the idea form, and speaking directly to it. Allow yourself the luxury of saying, "I'm sorry." I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Forgive me. Forgive me. Forgive me. I love you. I love you. I love you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
Rolling river God, little stones are smooth, only once the water passes through. Now I am a stone, rough and grainy still, trying to reconcile this river's chill. But when I close my eyes and feel you rushing by, I know that time brings change, and change takes time. But when the sunset comes, my prayer will be just one, that you might pick me up and notice that I am just a little smoother in your hand. Sometimes raging wild, sometimes swollen high, never have I known this river dry. The deepest part of you is where I long to stay and feel the sharpest edges washed away. But when I close my eyes and feel you rushing by, I know that time brings change, and change takes time. But when the sunset comes, my prayer will be just one, that you might pick me up and notice that I am just a little smoother rolling river god. Little stones are smooth, only once the water passes through.